Uh, hey everybody. So I just got out of seeing the movie Suzume, double feature with the Mario movie, and sorry if I sound a little stuffed up. The movie actually made me cry. The first film to make me cry in I don't know how long. Uh, so in short, that's a recommendation. I don't really want to talk about the Mario movie because it was good. It was a fun movie that, it was what you would expect the Mario movie to be. It was fun, and I liked all the little references to the other Mario stuff. They even had like a billboard for, I think, if I see it again, I'll have to make sure it has like a billboard because it starts in Brooklyn and then they go to the Mushroom Kingdom. Um, for Nintendo playing cards, which is, of course, if you don't know, that was back in the late 1800s when Nintendo was founded. That's what they were selling. But yeah, I don't care about the Mario movie. Uh, so Suzume was my first Makoto Shinkai movie, who is, if you don't know, a famous Japanese animated filmmaker who's made things like Your Name and Weathering with You, and I both love and hate this movie because now I gotta go see all the other movies because this was probably one of the best animated movies I've ever seen. Still kind of winding down from the experience, but it was so beautiful and a work of art. Like it now I'm like, if somebody's asking, like, if they only think of animation, if they don't think of animation as a legitimate art form or a medium for film, I would show them something like this. But yes, not it was about as beautiful as a Studio Ghibli movie. Certainly, there's a lot of influence in it, especially in this movie. It has some nice, fun little callbacks. They even play the little pop song that plays at the beginning of Kiki's Delivery Service. But yeah, before I just kind of start gushing over it, the basic plot of it is there are, ancient gods living under Japan. There's a giant worm and two gate keys that kind of sealed away, and they kind of get lost. And there are a few people called closers who, help seal them away. And when the worm tries to get out, it causes earthquakes, and it's kind of implied that it's not. It's almost explicitly stated that the worm caused the, like, 1926, I think, Kanto earthquake and the 2011 tsunami in Japan. And it starts with the main character, Suzume, the titular character, who's a nice, cute high school girl who runs across a mysterious guy who's looking for ruins. And Suzume lives with her aunt Tamaki, and her mother died in the 2011 tsunami. And like, gates are opening up, or the gate in Kyushu where she lives in southern Japan opens up, and she like helps Sota, who is the man that she meets, close it. But then mysteriously, one of the keystones that, like, keeps the gate closed. It's a very kind of weird, almost eldritch, spiritual premise or idea, which isn't even really the main point. I know it's complicated, but hey, that just means you got to see the movie, which I really recommend. And but anyways, they meet, and one of the keystones kind of takes the form of a cat and turns Sota into a chair, a three-legged chair that was given to Suzume by her mother when she was a little girl. And so the movie then just kind of turns into a literal road trip movie where she just kind of runs off from her aunt all across Japan with Sota as a chair, trying to look for Daijin, who is the keystone of the gate. And along the way, they find more and more of these gates that are found in ruins, these, like, doors that they have to shut, or else the giant, like, god worm is going to crush or cause a massive earthquake. And eventually they get to Tokyo, and apparently you can transfer the power of the keystone to other people, and Daijin transferred it to Sota, who, was forced to seal it away and is now in the afterlife realm. But you know, not giving up on love, uh, Suzume, Tamaki, and Seiza, I think Seizawara or is Sota's friend. I can't remember if that's his name. Kind of team up and kind of track down, trying to find, go through the gate to rescue Sota, and like the only place he can, Suzume can enter the other world is a door that's from the big traumatic event of her childhood of her being a little girl who lost her mother after the 2011 tsunami. And so she goes there, and she's been having dreams throughout the whole movie of like her as a little girl, and she turns around, she's looking for her mother, and she sees a beautiful woman, older woman, and she thought that was her mother, but when she got through the portal to the other realm, it kind of went back to that memory, and she that beautiful woman was not her mother, but herself, kind of comforting her and saying, "Hey, things are bad now, but you're going to have a good future." And that's the scene at the end that made me that had me in tears. I will freely admit that. Um, but yeah, and so they seal up the gate. Sota is rescued. Her past self is given the three-legged chair that she was given, that she found, and so kind of closes the time loop. Things are wrapped up. And it was a very beautiful ending. And then like Sota has to finish up some stuff, but then he comes back and visits her, and you assume, hopefully, they get together. Because I know a lot of like the only thing I know about a lot of Shinkai's movies is a lot of them are very nice basic love stories, which I like. I like a nice, simple, wholesome, man and woman come together movie. But yeah, so the movie had me laughing and crying because it had a really good sense of humor, especially when Sota's a chair, as she's kind of like as he and Suzume are hitchhiking across Japan, and like there's times where he's just like, like there's something in a lot of anime where there's such good humorous moments, or a lot of really good sense of humor just made by like little subtle moments, like him just kind of turning his back when he's a chair, or like the expressions he does like as a three-legged chair are great, and just little in jokes and stuff like that. And like her aunt texting her, and she like is texting her like paragraph after paragraph, and just the relationship feels so real between all the characters. And it seems there's something similar to that in Ghibli movies, where you'll have all this fantastical stuff, like in My Neighbor Totoro, or um, Spirited Away, but you'll have so much detail and realism in everywhere else, because it seems like most of the movie is just them going across Japan, going from uh, Kyushu to Shikoku to Kobe to Tokyo, then I guess to near Fukushima. Um, and the art is beautiful, the use of colors is great, and just the voice acting was incredible. The music, I want to get the soundtrack. So that it's hard to spend a long time talking about it just because the movie was so good and there's less to criticize. But the ending was good. A lot of anime, or really not just anime or Japanese stuff, but a lot of stories struggle with having a satisfying ending. This did. You know, this wrapped up really nicely. Everything made sense. The characters were incredibly likable, and you know, to get into my political thing about this is this is one when people wonder why a lot of anime fans are right wing, or why a lot of right wing people like anime. It's because of stuff like this, where I saw so many trailers of like animated movies where everything is degenerate. Uh, you can't have a same race couple together. You can't have just a normal person. Like, all the female characters have to be kind of bitchy and rebellious teenagers. Like, there's a DreamWorks movie coming about this, like, teenage kraken who has to fight a mermaid, because you have to inverse the you know beautiful Western canon, right? You have to, and then you had the same thing with like Turning Red. I didn't see that movie, but like everything I heard about it makes it seem awful. Um, but whereas you have something like this or Studio Ghibli, where yes, you have like a big emphasis on female characters, but the characters are at least likable. Like Suzume or Chihiro or Kiki, you know, these uh these are nice, morally good people that actually take the time and uh are decent human beings to other people, which I guess that's his point towards Japan's high trust society. But you know, I guess the reason what attracts a lot of people in this political sphere to anime is just when you have stuff like this movie, um, like where she's comes across, all these different people, she helps them and they help her. And you see what a society could be like in comparison to what we've got now. Like you see what in a lot of ways was high trust communities or nations that actually don't. And it comes with the country that made this movie, you can tell, as opposed to western movie animated movies, the Japan doesn't actually seem to hate its own population. But yeah, so that's my kind of mini review of it. Yes, Suzume, like 10 out of 10. Beautiful movie, like work of art, had me in tears. I go see it. God bless.